You're scrolling through Instagram and you see your wedding dress, your flowers, your venue, except you're not invited. Jane thought she was marrying the love of her life. Instead, she discovered his family had been planning her replacement wedding for months. And when she found out who the replacement bride was, that's when things got absolutely insane. But wait until you hear what Jane found hidden in Henry's closet 3 days before Victoria's wedding. This story has more twists than a soap opera, and trust me, you're not ready for how this ends. So Jane's been with Henry for 3 years, right? They're engaged, planning this massive wedding for next summer. Everything's perfect, or so she thinks. Because while Jane's busy picking out centerpieces and arguing with caterers, Henry's mother is across town doing the exact same thing for a completely different bride. But here's the first twist that'll make your skin crawl. Elizabeth isn't just planning a replacement wedding. She's been documenting everything. Photos of Jane trying on dresses, recordings of their conversations about the perfect venue, even screenshots of Jane's Pinterest boards. Elizabeth's building a playbook to recreate Jane's dream wedding for someone else. And Jane has no idea. None. She's calling Elizabeth every week like, "Hey, future mother-in-law, what do you think about these table settings?" And Elizabeth's just playing along, smiling, nodding, taking notes, all while she's got a secret wedding binder hidden in her bedroom labeled Victoria and Henry, the perfect wedding. Let me paint you the picture of Henry and Jane, high school sweethearts from this tiny town in Ohio where everyone knows everyone's business. Henry is the golden boy, quarterback turned successful real estate agent, drives a BMW, perfect teeth, the whole package. Jane's the girl next door who became a kindergarten teacher because she genuinely loves kids and wants to make the world better. They get engaged on Christmas Eve 2022 in front of both families. Picture perfect moment, right? Elizabeth's crying, and here's the sick part, they're real tears, because Elizabeth's already grieving the son she's about to lose, even though she's the one orchestrating his departure. But here's what nobody knows. Elizabeth never wanted Jane in the family, ever. And the reason why will make you furious. See, when Henry was in college, he dated this girl named Ashley. Wealthy family, connected, everything Elizabeth wanted. But Ashley broke Henry's heart senior year, cheated on him with his roommate, left him devastated. Henry came home crying to mommy, and Elizabeth held him while he sobbed about never trusting anyone again. That's when Jane showed up. Sweet, loyal Jane who helped Henry heal from that betrayal. Jane who loved him unconditionally, who never asked for anything except his heart. Jane saved Henry from becoming a bitter, broken man. And Elizabeth? She resented Jane for it. Because in Elizabeth's twisted mind, Jane made Henry soft. Jane made him happy with ordinary instead of pushing him toward greatness. Elizabeth wanted Henry to stay hungry, stay ambitious, stay climbing. Jane made him content. So Elizabeth starts playing the long game. She's sweet to Jane's face, but behind closed doors, she's working on Henry. Little comments here and there. Jane's sweet, but do you think she really gets your ambitions? I just worry she might hold you back from your potential. Remember how hurt you were before? Are you sure you can trust completely again? And here's the brutal part. It starts working. Henry begins questioning things he never questioned before. Enter Victoria. But here's the twist you didn't see coming. Victoria isn't just Elizabeth's best friend's daughter. Victoria is Ashley's cousin, the same Ashley who destroyed Henry in college. Elizabeth tracked down Ashley's family, found out Victoria was moving back from New York, and orchestrated the whole thing. Elizabeth doesn't just invite Victoria to family events. She starts telling Victoria stories about Henry, how successful he is, how he's finally ready to settle down with the right woman, how he's learned from past mistakes. Elizabeth's basically grooming Victoria to be Ashley 2.0, but better. Victoria starts showing up everywhere, and Jane notices immediately. But when Jane brings it up, Henry gets defensive in a way that cuts deep. "Why are you being so insecure?" he snaps. "You never used to be jealous. I don't like what you're becoming." Those words hit Jane like a slap because Henry is right. She never used to be jealous. She's becoming someone she doesn't recognize, and she doesn't understand why. But here's the sick part. Elizabeth's been showing Victoria photos of Jane and Henry together, not to warn Victoria away, but to study them. Elizabeth points out every moment of happiness, every inside joke, every way Jane makes him smile, and tells Victoria, this is what he needs. This is what makes him happy. Can you be this for him? Victoria, who's struggling after her failed modeling career and messy breakup in New York, sees this as her chance at happiness. She doesn't know she's being molded into Jane 2.0. Meanwhile, Elizabeth starts playing psychological warfare with Jane. "Honey, you seem stressed about the wedding. Are you sure you're ready for marriage? It's a big commitment. Henry has been working so late lately. I hope the pressure isn't getting to him. You know, some couples grow apart during engagement. It's more common than you think." Jane starts doubting everything. Is she being too clingy? Is she holding Henry back? Is their relationship as strong as she thought? Fast forward to 10 weeks before the wedding. Jane's planning her bachelorette party when she gets a call that destroys her. Her dad's in the hospital, heart attack. Jane rushes to be with her family, tells Henry she might need to postpone some wedding planning. Henry's response? Maybe this is a sign we should slow down anyway. Jane's world stops. Her dad's fighting for his life, and her fiancé is talking about slowing down their wedding? But Henry keeps going. "I've been thinking we rushed into this. Maybe we should postpone the wedding, take some time to really think about what we want." Jane's standing in a hospital corridor watching her dad hooked up to machines, and the man she loves is basically breaking up with her over the phone. But here's the twist. While Jane's at the hospital for 2 weeks helping her dad recover, Henry isn't just thinking. He's with Victoria every day. Elizabeth told him Jane needed space, that he should give her time with her family. So Elizabeth starts inviting Henry over for dinner. Guess who's always there? Victoria. And Victoria, she's being the perfect support system. "You're such a good man for giving Jane space," she tells him. "Not every guy would be so understanding." She listens to his doubts about the wedding, validates every fear Elizabeth planted in his head. Jane comes back from the hospital to find Henry distant, cold, different. When she tries to talk about wedding plans, he changes the subject. When she tries to be intimate, he pulls away. It's like he's already gone. But here's what breaks Jane's heart. She finds a photo on Henry's phone. Him and Victoria at a wine tasting, laughing, looking like a couple. The photo is time-stamped from when Jane's dad was in surgery. Jane confronts Henry, and he says the words that shatter her. "Maybe we want different things, Jane. Maybe we're just comfortable, not really in love." Comfortable? After 3 years, after planning a life together, after Jane nursing him through his trust issues from Ashley, he calls the relationship comfortable. Jane could have given up then. Most women would have. But Jane's made of stronger stuff. She decides if Henry wants space, she'll give it to him. She moves back in with her parents while her dad recovers. That's when she runs into Diane at Target. The bridal shop revelation about Victoria's dress. But here's the detail that makes it even more twisted. Victoria didn't just order Jane's dress. She ordered it in the exact same size, same alterations, even the same undergarments Jane had been fitted for. Diane tells Jane something else. "Honey, that girl knew everything. She knew your bra size, your height, even that you wanted the dress taken in at the waist because you've been working out. How could she know all that?" Jane realizes Elizabeth has been feeding Victoria her most intimate details, her measurements, her insecurities, her dreams. Elizabeth's been creating a Jane replica. Jane drives to the venue, sees both booking files. But there's another twist. The coordinator shows her something that makes her blood run cold. The mother of the groom was very specific, she says, pulling out detailed notes. She said the first bride was just practice, and the real wedding needed to be perfect. Practice. Elizabeth called Jane's dreams practice. But the coordinator has more. She also said something strange. She wanted everything exactly the same, except for one thing. She wanted the second bride to wear the first bride's engagement ring. Jane's engagement ring. The family heirloom Henry gave her. Elizabeth wants Victoria to wear Jane's ring. Jane's checks her jewelry box when she gets home. The ring is gone. Henry must have taken it back while she was at the hospital with her dad. Jane starts her detective work, but what she finds is worse than cheating. She finds Henry's laptop, and there's a folder labeled Wedding Comparison. Inside, side-by-side photos of Jane and Victoria, in similar poses, wearing similar outfits, even similar expressions. But that's not the worst part. There's a document titled Jane versus Victoria, Pros and Cons. Henry has been literally comparing them like they're cars he's thinking about. Under Jane's cons, too emotional, wants kids too soon, doesn't understand business, family has no money. Under Victoria's pros, sophisticated, traveled, understands ambition, family connections could help business. Jane realizes Henry hasn't just been manipulated by his mother, he's been actively participating in replacing her. But then Jane finds something that changes everything. Hidden in Henry's closet, behind his old college textbooks, there's a box. Inside, letters. Love letters from Victoria to Henry, dating back 6 months. But these aren't casual getting-to-know-you letters. These are intimate, detailed letters about their future together. "My darling Henry," one reads, "I can't wait until we don't have to pretend anymore. Soon, Jane will be out of the picture and we can start our real life together." Another one, "Your mother showed me the house you and Jane looked at. I've already started planning how I'll redecorate. I can't wait to erase every trace of her and make it ours." And the one that destroys Jane? "I know this is hard, breaking someone's heart, but she was never right for you. I am. We are. Just a few more weeks, and we'll be married, and this will all be a bad memory." Jane realizes Victoria knew about her the entire time. This wasn't Elizabeth manipulating two innocent people. This was Elizabeth, Henry, and Victoria conspiring together to systematically destroy Jane's life and steal her dreams. But there's one more letter, and this one makes Jane's hands shake. "Henry, I'm pregnant. I haven't told your mother yet, but I wanted you to know first. Our baby deserves to be born into a legitimate marriage, not this mess. You need to end things with Jane immediately." Victoria is pregnant with Henry's baby. Jane could have exposed everything privately. Instead, she planned something so diabolical, so perfectly crafted, that it becomes legendary in their small town. Jane spends the next 6 weeks not just redirecting wedding guests, she's building a case. She screenshots every text, every email, every social media post. She creates a timeline of the entire conspiracy. And then she does something brilliant. She reaches out to Ashley, Henry's ex from college. Turns out, Ashley lives in California now, happily married with 2 kids. She had no idea her cousin Victoria was involved with Henry. When Jane tells her the whole story, Ashley is horrified. "Victoria always was jealous of everything I had," Ashley says, "even the guy who broke my heart." Ashley reveals something crucial. Victoria reached out to her months ago, asking detailed questions about Henry, what he liked, what made him happy, what his weaknesses were. Victoria's been planning this for almost a year. Jane documents everything. Every lie, every manipulation, every stolen dream. Then she creates something that will go down in petty revenge history, a wedding website. Not for her wedding, for Henry and Victoria's wedding. But this website tells the real story. It has a timeline of the affair, screenshots of the text messages, photos of the conspiracy, even a side-by-side comparison of Jane's original wedding plans and Victoria's stolen version. The website goes live the morning of Victoria's wedding. Jane sends the link to everyone, every wedding guest, every family member, every mutual friend. The title? The Wedding That Wasn't, How 3 People Stole My Dreams and Got Away with It. But here's the kicker. Jane doesn't just expose them. She reveals Victoria's pregnancy. Because Jane found one more piece of evidence, medical records Victoria left in Henry's car. The pregnancy? It's not Henry's baby. The timing doesn't match. Victoria got pregnant before she even met Henry, and she's been using the baby to trap him. June 3rd arrives, Victoria's big day. Elizabeth spent months planning this perfect wedding with Jane's stolen ideas. But by 10 a.m., the website has been shared hundreds of times. Everyone knows everything. The first sign something's wrong? The photographer doesn't show up. Jane hired him first, and she has a valid contract. He chooses to honor his original booking with Jane. Then the band cancels. They don't want to be part of what they call stolen valor. The florist shows up, but with the wrong flowers. Turns out, Jane never actually canceled her original order. She just redirected it to a different venue. So Victoria gets grocery store flowers instead of Jane's custom arrangements. But the guests, that's where it gets brutal. Half of Henry's side doesn't show up because they got Jane's redirect message. But the ones who do show up, they're not there to celebrate. They're there to watch the train wreck. Victoria realizes something's wrong when people start looking at their phones and gasping. She pulls up the website during her hair appointment and loses it. Complete meltdown. She's screaming at the hairdresser, throwing things, her makeup running everywhere. Meanwhile, Henry is getting texts from friends. Dude, what the hell is this website? Is this real? You got another girl pregnant while engaged? Elizabeth shows up at the venue looking like she's aged 10 years overnight. She's frantically trying to do damage control, but it's too late. The story's everywhere. Victoria shows up to her own wedding looking like she's been crying for hours. Henry is pale, shaken, realizing his entire life just imploded online. The few guests who stayed are sitting there in awkward silence, everyone on their phones reading the website. The officiant asks if anyone objects to the marriage, and that's when Jane walks in. Not in a wedding dress this time. She's wearing a simple black dress, looking absolutely composed, carrying the folder. She doesn't say anything. She just walks to the front and hands Victoria the folder. Inside, paternity test results, because Jane didn't just expose Victoria's lies, she proved them. The baby Victoria's carrying, it belongs to Victoria's ex-boyfriend from New York, the same guy Victoria claimed she'd broken up with before meeting Henry. You can still get married, Jane says calmly to the entire congregation, but maybe you should know who you're really marrying first. Victoria collapses, like literally faints. Henry catches her, but you can see it in his eyes. He knows it's over. Elizabeth starts screaming at Jane, calling her names, threatening her, but Jane just stands there, unmoved. I didn't come here to ruin your wedding, Jane says. I came here to save Henry from making the same mistake twice. You can thank me later. Then Jane drops the final bomb. Oh, and Henry, that business opportunity Victoria mentioned, the one with her family's connections, I called them. Victoria's family cut her off 6 months ago when they found out about the pregnancy and her lies. There are no connections. There never were. Henry realizes he's given up everything, Jane, his reputation, his self-respect, for a woman who lied about everything, including carrying another man's child. The wedding obviously doesn't happen. Victoria leaves in an ambulance, stress and pregnancy don't mix, but not before screaming at Elizabeth for ruining her life. Henry is left standing at the altar looking like a man who just watched his entire future evaporate. But here's the twist nobody saw coming. Jane's not done. 3 months later, she publishes a book, The Wedding Planner's Daughter, a true story of love, betrayal, and the revenge that set me free. It becomes a bestseller locally, then nationally. Jane uses the book proceeds to start a nonprofit, helping women who've been victims of emotional manipulation and gaslighting. She becomes an advocate, a speaker, a symbol of turning pain into purpose. Henry? He moves away from town. Can't handle everyone knowing what he did. Last anyone heard, he's living in another state, working a dead-end job, still single, still trying to understand how he destroyed the best thing in his life for a pack of lies. Victoria? She had the baby, a beautiful little girl who looks nothing like Henry. She's back in New York, working retail, raising her daughter alone. Her modeling dreams are dead, her reputation is destroyed, and she's facing multiple lawsuits from vendors she stiffed for the wedding that never happened. Elizabeth? This is the best part. Elizabeth becomes a pariah in town. Her friends abandon her, her church asks her to step down from leadership, even her own sister stops talking to her. She raised a son who would betray the woman who loved him, and everyone knows it. But the ultimate twist? 2 years later, Jane meets someone new, a genuinely good man who appreciates her strength, her resilience, her refusal to be anyone's second choice. They have a small, intimate wedding, nothing like the elaborate affair she once planned with Henry. And guess who tries to show up uninvited? Henry. He drives 3 hours from wherever he's living now, stands outside the venue, watching through the windows as Jane marries someone who deserves her. Jane sees him there. For just a moment, their eyes meet through the glass, and Jane smiles, not with bitterness or anger, but with genuine pity, because she realizes Henry will spend the rest of his life wondering what if, while she gets to live her what is. Sometimes the best revenge isn't destroying someone's life. Sometimes it's building such an amazing life for yourself that their destruction becomes irrelevant. Jane didn't just get revenge. She got freedom, success, love, and happiness. Henry got exactly what he deserved. Nothing. And Victoria? She learned that when you try to steal someone else's dreams, you end up with nightmares instead. If this story had you hooked from start to finish, smash that subscribe button because trust me, I've got more revenge stories that will blow your mind. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss when I drop the next one about the woman who discovered her sister was stealing her identity for years. And tell me in the comments, do you think Jane went too far, or was this exactly what Henry and Victoria deserved? I'll see you in the next one, and it's going to be even more twisted than this. Feel free to share your own story. Email it to me if you want to stay anonymous, and remember to subscribe for more relatable stories.